I've watched this play out in the last couple of years, ever since like the Epstein files, right? Ever since that became a thing, people have been um calling these kinds of people the Epstein class. And and in recent years we've seen, like, people, rich men, getting busted for sexual crimes. Rich, powerful men in positions of power, getting busted for crimes like this, and we continuously go, well, it's the Epstein class. Or, when something happens in the States with like insurance, and someone gets kicked off a plan, and then the CEO gets shot. I mean, I'm kind of telling you a specific case. We go that it's the Epstein class and the Epstein class. And while I completely understand what they mean by the Epstein class, I do not like using that phrase or that term. I just think it individualizes a systemic issue. I mean, I've talked about Baudrillard on this podcast quite a bit and talked about his theory of Disneyland. The idea that, like, Disneyland is this idea where it gives you a sense of a reality that isn't real. So you go into Disneyland and it's hyper real. It's cartoonish. Everyone's really nice, and then blah 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 blah. And then while you're there, you go, well, the real Disneyland is out there somewhere. Uh, and we see this, like, when Trump just recently did his UFC fighting thing on the front lawn. We do that with, this is not the America I know, and it is the America. That is America. The reflective pool with the algae, that's America. And this is my problem with the phrase the Epstein class. It does the thing again where we need a bad guy. Like, we're so dependent on narratives, because the idea that this is so ambiguous, that the life is just not as complicated or complicated, like, it's both. And that is terrifying. And this, takes us into Beckner, who talks about the denial of death and how we have to make up these stories and these ideas so we can avoid our existential truth that you're all going to be a bag of bones. And so, Epstein gives us, like, someone to point at, someone to go, that's a bad man that does the bad thing over there. Sorry. And we do this all the time. Like, we do this all the time. It's why, like, I like the show The Boys, because I mean, the last season, I get it, and nobody liked the last season of The Boys. Everyone, but whatever. Up until that, it was great because it did that thing. It did the thing where it took superheroes and it spun it on its head, because we understood the trope of superheroes. We understood that myth. We understood that idea. And then what if superheroes was this? And we instinctually understand that trope as a society. And that's what, that's kind of the same thing with the Epstein class. It's a narrative. Uh it's a narrative of something that we understand through copies of copies of copies, right? Like, we understand, it's a lot of it was like, I watched this video, I forget the name of it. I'll find it and I'll put in the links. I'm sure I won't. That's who I am. But I watched this video talking about how the Epstein class wasn't has this, like, mythology of Eyes Wide Shut. Like, it's like, they're showing up with their masks. Ooh, let's have sex. I don't know why I'm doing it, but you know what I mean? Like, it's this secret society, and they're nerds. They're goofy nerds who, couldn't get laid, so he had an island. They're a-holes with money. You look at the people that went there, you're like, oh yeah, of course. It's not as like mysterious. Getting back to, the reflective pool. It's that now. This is what I find quaint about conspiracy theories. is that it's like all the stuff, all what's happening, and now we live in a time where conspiracy theories are adorable compared to reality. Reality's so much worse than a conspiracy theory. And so like this concept of the Epstein class, and while I do not think people are wrong for saying it, or I'm not trying to call anyone out, not that I don't know anybody. But I think it like diverts from actually calling out institutional or systemic critique. There was always Epsteins. There's Epstein. I just recently read Mia Farrow's. Is it Mia Farrow? No, that's not Mia. Ronan Farrow. Oh, Mia Farrow's his mother. Ronan Farrow's book Catch and Kill, and I know it's been around, but it's a perfect example of this idea of the Epstein class that I'm talking about. Like he's on a journey following who's the other Epstein? The guy that the producer, you know what I'm talking about. What's his name? I'll put it somewhere here. He's following his journey of how he at Miramax, silenced people with like the help of this Israeli private company he'd pay millions to until he couldn't, right? Until everything started caving in on him. It was so secretive and so clandestine. And then you just realize it's just a perverted guy who owns the means of production. Right? When you can control how people live underneath you, there's a good chance that will corrupt you. That will make you think that's how life is. And again, I'm doing the thing where I'm putting this on an individual. But what I mean is when individuals own things, they lose sight of the greater good. It's like when that study that showed that people who were born rich think they earned it. This is fascism, right? Like this is people who think they're better naturally. And your body really means nothing to me because you need me. And so anyway, I'm reading this book and he's following what is that dude's name? I have it right here too. I can picture his face. I'm horrible at this podcast. I should have been prepared. Could have put on a screen. Anyway, Weinstein. Harvey Weinstein. There you go. Harvey Weinstein. So he's following Harvey Weinstein up to his trial and he's getting threats and everything. But along the way in this, he's pointing out how like people in the system backed up Harvey Weinstein and how people in the system, there's other men doing the exact same thing, including him with his sister. He stayed silent when his sister called out Woody Allen. And he talks about it in the book, and it's this. I think as a society we need to get past good and bad. Need to get past narratives. We need to stop seeing like things, and I know this is like I'm yelling into the wind. But like this is what's killing us is this idea of signs and symbols, and those signs and symbols having to have a narrative to justify our existence, to make us feel that we're not going to die alone, that we had importance, that we have legacy. This is what it is. It's like this is why we have an Epstein class. So I mean the label Epstein class. It's no Epstein class. It's capitalism. Ooh, I said it. I'm sure there's people in the comments right now. I'm sure. Yeah, but that's what it is. It's capitalism. It's the means of production being owned by the few. It's Elon Musk being able to go to into I don't know, Doge, whatever the thing is, and cutting people off of social security. This it's we are in a fiefdom, or it never changed. But the point is to call these things like it's perfect to have Elon Musk because it gives you that's the bad one. The rest of them are good, but they're not. It's not even them. It is the system that just keeps going, and it's going for profit, not humanity. I find that entertaining. I find some of this entertaining, if you will. I just read Blood Meridian. I love that book. It's great because Blood Meridian's talking about this, like what we're talking about here. It's in fact like people are like, oh, they could never make a Blood Meridian movie or to be too bloody and too graphic, and I'm like, they already did. They made Blazing Saddles. Blazing Saddles is the original Blood Meridian movie. Like it is Baudrillardian, right? It like Blood Meridian. Blood Meridian's graphicness, its like idea of like, how horrible it is, was at the time, or whenever it was written, was a parody of like how we saw history. It is exposing the Disneyland that, and before that, Blazing Saddles did that. Blazing Saddles came out in a time whereas like John Wayne westerns or like Bonanza, like westerns were seen as like this. Oh, I don't know what that means, but oh. Anyway, so they were like seen as these like very wholesome, a Little House on the Prairie, even though that wasn't a western, that was a, but you know what I mean? It was that kind of thing. And then Blazing Saddles came out. This I don't understand. I've talked about this before, but Blazing Saddles was a parody of that. Blazing Saddles was saying, hey, in actuality, the West would be this, full of racism. Full of racism. And so so all you Blood Meridian people who want to see a Blood Meridian movie, I enjoyed the book. It was gruesome, a lot. It's been done. Go watch Blazing Saddles. It's the same thing. I was gonna do an episode about that, but at this point, but yeah. So anyway, that's Baudrillardian's Disneyland. It's the it this is what I love about the Trump presidency, because every second of every day, him shitting his pants, him farting all over the place and falling asleep, and like the decay of an American empire, he is doing it in real time. This whole idea, like you see the Disneyland. This is why I say conspiracy is quaint now, because you're watching it in real time. You're watching Disneyland Baudrillard's Disneyland in real time, and we can't continue to do the CNN liberal, the facade of things are fine and things are normal and they've never been bad. Like, we can't do that anymore. We have to realize it's always been corrupt. These are contradictions that people bury their head in, and this is how it always was. It was always this. Right? Like talking to the dude, the comedian friend of mine, or comedian. I don't have friends. Talking to the comedian I knew who was like, "Well, it was back. We need to get back to when where things were good." It's like, when was that? When we closed the last residential school in the 90s. Like, when was it good for everybody? Where's this democracy? I mean, anyway. So yeah, anyway, I don't know how to end this segment. It's gonna end like this. What's the quaintiest part of conspiracy theories? Like Epstein and all of this is like a lot of these conspiracy theories, people I know, this is anecdotal first of all, but people I know who are into conspiracy theories, and they're white dudes, Rogan sphere adjacent kind of guys, they believe in the most wildish shit. They will believe everything under the sun. And the government, blah, 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 and, we didn't land on the moon, and there's fucking 9/11 was an inside job, and like, oh, cool, man, cool. And then you bring up something like systemic racism, and they become like so straight. Like they couldn't believe less. The government couldn't be more legitimate. You're like, yeah, I believe 9/11 might have been an inside job, and like, and what about, because if you look at like how the police treat the black community, whoa, 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 whoa. I didn't say that. Those police are doing a fine job. A fine job. I just meant I think the moon landing was staged on a sound stage 224 by Stanley Kubrick. But this wildness about racism, that's a bridge too far for me. That's the quaintness of white conspiracy theories, I think, is the lack of like, well, it's right there. Right? If you think the government's corrupt, it's just a hop, skip, and a jump. I mean, I've been there, right? I do that kind of stuff too, right? Like it's because it's a narrative that you could tell yourself. It's a narrative to be like, right? Like I'm gonna be okay and the world's fine and happy ever after. You believe in happy ever after. And when I was this is why I sort of feel for like the manosphere or the incels because I, as a younger man, thought I was going to get married. Like that was just how things were. I'm going to get married. I'm going to have a kid. I'm going to have a house. Like there was no, it's just, there's no path to it. There's no map to it. You're just going to have it. You don't think about it. You just have fun now and later those things will come around. And yeah, you grow up. That's the thing. You got to grow up. But I was there. I've been that. I've done that. I still recycle. I talk about recycling in my last album and like how that is, normies conspiracy theory, right? The idea that we're putting out bins of plastic, metal, and paper and sorting it like we're gonna solve the Earth climate crisis individually, one house at a time. It's ridiculous. We're like recycling's like we're like the baby in the backseat of the car with a tiny steering wheel. Like, look at you, parallel park. Three-quarters of environmental disaster is brought on by six companies. We can't solve these things from an individual perspective, but we can create a narrative of progression of moving forward. I live in Hamilton. They have this program called the Yellow Gold Bin. Sorry, it's a gold bin, and they award you a gold bin if they come and audit your recycling, and people love it and like, oh my god, you did so well with your bubblies in one can, and then milk carton in the other. And liberal white women love this thing. They lose their mind over it. But it's like I live in a very industrial city. It's a steel town. There's 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 toxins being pumped into the sky continuously. Right? It's like look at the gold bin, not the eye of Sauron above your head. We use the phrase Epstein class the same way we use Disneyland to avoid the system. Right? You go to Disneyland, it's a great time. You feel like, "Oh, you're out of time, you're out of reality, all your problems are at home." But your problems are at home. They haven't gone away. You still have they're with you. They're your problems. And this is the whole thing with the Epstein class. Epstein class is that it allows us to point the thing onto an individual or onto a person or a problem. It individualizes systemic issues so we don't have to look at the system, which is what the system wants us to do. It wants us not to point at it and look at it. It's a continuous deflection, gaslighting. And using those phrases as casual as they are, and I'm sure a lot of those people who use them, I've heard them from, mean it like wink, wink, nudge, nudge, because it's an easier gesture to a thing, but it's also very dangerous. It's also very dangerous because we've been asleep. We've been asleep for a long time. And these are the tricks and the ways they do it, right? And this is what my whole podcast is about, is this. This is the thing. we have to keep aware of. I don't want to say awake because I think of that guy I saw with his shirt. I'm awake, not woke. I don't understand people like that who walk around with their opinion politically on their shirts. Uh, uh, Trust in Jesus. No, don't